Hey, hey, Logan, we got a box. I think it's beer.
Beer? Start off, I was wearing this shirt a few weeks ago. You guys should pick this shirt up, but I wanted to point out that, I don't know what it said, but someone said that if they thought it said something other than this, and it bothered me, and it doesn't. It says I don't party, and we've got them for sale in the store. Also, there's a lot of sales going on. We got Steam Summer Sale. We just had the Good Old Game Sale. I picked up more games on the Good Old Game Sale, and I think I've been more excited about those. I've been traveling around. I'm like all over the place. Did you see this? I got Krondor the Betrayal.
The book.
The book. There it is. I'll be reading that. It looks pretty interesting. I picked that up in a Maryland, really ugly plaza in Maryland.
I'm actually going to buy some stuff on the Good Old Game Sale, but the last time I played Steam, they were letting me know they had Final Fantasy VII. You know what I did? I immediately went to Good Old Games to see if they had it, because that was going to be an insta-buy, but then it's like Steam, DRM, Final Fantasy VII, nope.
Yeah. I'm really not liking the DRM. I mean, I have picked up a couple games on the Steam Summer Sale, but I picked up like 15 games on the Good Old Games Summer Sale. Anyway, we have some games on sale as well, like the Elder Scrolls Legendary Edition, $39.99. So you guys can head over there. Check that out. There's several new games on sale. And
they also had the Grand Theft Auto Complete Collection. Although I think Grand Theft Auto 4, you have to suffer through games for Windows Live.
I picked up Street Fighter. That's what it was. I picked up Street Fighter on sale because I really wanted a 2D fighter. And wouldn't you know, like 2 days later, Mortal Kombat comes out, and I'm like, oh, I'd much rather have that. And I don't think it's laden with terrible Windows games for Windows Live nonsense anyway.
Gabe may have planned it that way.
Yeah, he's like, oh, let's put the Street Fighter on sale the day before, and now I don't want to buy Mortal Kombat. I'm like, no, I'm mad at you guys now. You didn't tell me this was going to happen. Also, if you guys don't feel like dealing with the sale, you just want to get something for free, you can do that. Check out what Future Step is doing on the website. He's giving away a copy of Far Cry 3 Blood Dragon. And here's what you need to do to win. You go over to the website. There's a link in the description, or actually just click the bottom of the screen right here. Click the screen. Click the freaking screen. And all you have to do is answer this one question. If you were given the opportunity to make a game with unlimited resources, what would it be? So you can create anything you want. Have fun, make up a game, and possibly win something. We may do some more giveaways like this, where we ask a question that starts an interesting conversation, something that's fun to talk about, and there'll usually be topics like this. What's the best weapon in a game? What kind of game would you create? If you could go skydiving with anyone, who would it be and why? Stuff like that, fun questions. All right, let's talk about things that are going on in the world. There's a new chatbot program that's out there hunting for pedophiles. That's right, it's back and it's looking for you guys. If you're a pedophile, you're in trouble. So
Arnold Schwarzenegger is hunting you down on the interwebs.
Be very scared, because the person you may be talking to that you think is a hot 13-year-old may just be a robot that's going to come and eat your brains. A robot zombie? What's wrong with me? I'm a little out of it. I've been driving across the country.
Don't you know anything? Robots run on old people's medicine.
Oh, man.
You need some Old Glory robot insurance.
Old people's medicine? I didn't know this. That makes sense, though. I don't know how, but it does.
It's a terrible reference to a really old Saturday Night Live skit.
There's an article here, and I wanted to take this as an opportunity to talk about my freaking self. Because I'm selfish. No, I really don't like talking. No, yes. Anyway, eBay seller is out $1,300 because she sold a laptop, and
she's out $1,300 and a laptop.
And a laptop, because she sent it to somebody, and I'm talking about this because this has happened to so many people on Tech Syndicate, and I've received emails, people talking about how much they hate PayPal and eBay. She got the money back, but let me first tell you what happened. She sold a laptop to somebody, and they claimed they never received the laptop. And then, eBay and PayPal were like, well, we did some research, and apparently the post office says that it was delivered. So the post office is like, it was delivered. And she was like, really? Because that person said it wasn't. So she was like, well, let me see the signature. And of course, she looked at the post office signature, and there was no signature, so nobody actually signed for the unit, meaning it probably never was delivered. But the post office was like, well, that's good enough for us. We tried to get a signature, and there's no signature, but we're not going to give you your insurance money back. Meanwhile, PayPal takes the $1,300 and gives it back to the buyer. Now, this happens all the time. It's part of their buyer protection program. If you're a buyer, you can rest assured knowing that if you do not get the item, or if the item is not as described or whatever, that you can get a judgment against them and get your money back. Well, that happened to me once with a graphics card, so I really, really hate PayPal. But this also happened to me with the post office. Now, as far as the insurance goes, I want you guys to take a look at this picture here. That is a box that I shipped from when I was moving to Miami to New York. I shipped this box that had a computer inside it. And I shipped it second day. 2 day. Should have been like 2 day or whatever. I think it was priority or... No, I think it was 2 day, but 2 day. About 30 days later, after me calling the post office 100,000 times, this box shows up. Have you seen that on the screen over there?
It's really horrifying. I've seen this, and it's really just... It's crazy.
Here's what the thing looked like on the outside, and here's what it looked like on the inside. Of course, the heatsink came off and destroyed the Northbridge cooling unit. Just destroyed everything. The system didn't work. The RAM was salvageable. The graphics card was iffy because the heatsink had been bouncing off the back of the graphics card, and it cut some of the traces. Long story short, do not use the post office. I tried to collect on the insurance that I put onto the unit. They didn't believe me, and then they were like, well, sir, you have to bring your unit to the post office. I took my unit to the post office, let them inspect it. I had an inspector sign the thing that it was damaged, and he's like, oh, yeah, everything should be cool now. They still denied it, and the last thing I heard from the post office, because the way the post office works is you cannot call them. They have to call you. Like, there's a special number for this. They call you, and you better pick up whenever they call because or else you're not going to get your money. So I picked up the phone. The lady yelled at me, and the last thing I heard from the post office was her saying, sir, you're not getting a cent from us, and she hung up. And I was never able to call him back, and I didn't know what to do, so I just said forget it because I was wasting so much of my precious time. I probably could have made enough money. Like, if you take into all the hours that I put into headaching over the post office, I probably could have worked and made enough money to buy 2 computers. But it's the principle, you know what I mean? Getting screwed.
What was really interesting is this lady appealed 3 times, and it was denied 3 times. And then CBS got involved, and magically it was like, oh, we shouldn't have ever denied that.
Yeah, I should have called the freaking news.
I don't know what happened.
So anyway, I want to use that as just a moment to rant about the post office, because now I feel like since 30,000 people are going to see this, or maybe 50 if you share it with your friends, if people are going to see this, now maybe I can get back at the post office. You guys should use UPS or anything else. Even DHL, as much as they suck.
Well, they're no longer around.
Oh, they're gone?
They're gone.
Probably because they suck so hard. DARPA, they're building robots. And I like robots, but these robots are kind of creepy. Look how anthropomorphized that is. Is that the right word for that? Yeah.
That's the body for the robot software that's going to hunt pedophiles.
Is it?
Yeah.
It's going to do a lot more than that. This could be a military robot. So, yeah, it's got near human anthropomorphy.
The thing that was in the video that was cool was they had weights for the hands. And it's like, oh, cool, there's weights for the hands, so they're planning on putting hands there. Or, an AK-47.
Yeah, AK-47. Or they could just punch you with those weighted hands. So here it is, like, walking around and all that stuff. They've been doing tests like this for a while, and trying to, they hit it and they try to knock it over and it balances. It looks like the software needs to be updated more than the hardware, but I'm not sure.
It looks pretty good, and they're running mule robot is also really impressive.
Yeah, that's over here.
So this is like the 2-legged version of the mule. So this is probably closer than we really realize because the mule's actually in active duty.
I'm not sure how long it's going to be until we have software that's going to be good enough to allow these to be maybe SWAT team officers. They can kick down doors and run in with guns blazing. And then also we still have to deal with the moral issue here, and that is, do we allow robots to kill people? Because robots don't have a conscience. They don't know right and wrong other than what we program it to do, I mean, can we trust robots to make those kind of decisions? Do you think that's an inevitability, that robots are going to have that power and that decision-making ability, and we're just going to have to deal with it?
Well, drones can't decide not to fire their missiles, so...
Yeah, this is going to be fun. I'll wrestle one of those things. I mean, I wrestled a bear once. All right. So these things can daydream now. I'll let you talk about this. It's from the Journal of Neuroscience.
Do the robots dream of electric sheep?
No, they dream of Blade Runners.
Badumch. No, this is interesting because we talked a little bit about artificial intelligence a couple of episodes ago, and this is talking about a brain simulation. And in the brain simulation, it seems that it's daydreaming in the simulation, and that just sort of came about naturally as part of the things that they were simulating. So it was really interesting that daydreaming is apparently wired in or built in for the mechanical structure of the brain. That's
almost kind of creepy that they're able to reproduce that with machines.
A simulation, yeah.
Yeah, it's very creepy. And another thing that's going to be interesting with the oncoming quantum computers, because people right now, they're still kind of, but in 10 years, there's going to be quantum math coprocessors. That's going to happen. We're going to see them. People are going to be able to spend, a chunk of change and do this in their garage.
Yeah, I mean, when we get to a microchip fabrication process that will allow you to put thousands of cores or tens of thousands of cores on a single die, then we may be able to simulate the parallelism of the human brain. At that point, will consciousness come about from simulating a brain? I don't know. I kind of think there's software coded for in our DNA, but I'm not sure.
Google and Apple have always been in the top 10 favorite companies, and right now they're no longer in the favorite companies. They're no longer America's sweethearts. I think they've been bitching and moaning back and forth so much that people are just sick of hearing about them. And Amazon, they are on the top 10 list twice. Ford's up at the top, but look, Amazon is at number 2, and at number 9, we have Kindle.
Huh.
What is Amazon doing that the other ones aren't doing? YouTube is up there. I'm not sure why that is. And a lot of V8. Who does these surveys? I don't know. Does anybody even drink V8 anymore?
Is that what that is?
What?
I didn't know what that was.
V8? I don't think I don't know. There's like a glass of V8 you can drink. Is there any other companies named V8?
Ovaltine?
It's like tomato juice. Hey, it's tomatoes. You drink it. There's a project right now on Indiegogo that is going to free cell phones from the cell phone networks, or the cellular networks. Here's what they're aiming to do. It's essentially a technology that's going to turn phones into sort of a two-way radio and allow them to create a giant mesh network using their Wi-Fi. Now, Wi-Fi is not big enough, but they're also going to give you an extender that fits in your pocket. They say set it and forget it, like a little extender you just carry around with you to extend the Wi-Fi signal. That will extend the Wi-Fi between 10 and 100 times. That's a pretty big delta, 10 and 100, but you guys can check out their Indiegogo. If this is legit, it could be pretty interesting because they've been testing this in several different remote locations like Australia, and it's been working. But
I'd like to see the brass tacks on how they plan to implement this, because bottom line, your cell phone being a mesh hotspot is going to kill the battery. So this auxiliary device, if it fills that gap, great. But I want to
provide you with some extra battery. Yeah,
I want to see the brass tacks of the plan, because if your phone's on all the time running the software, I don't think it's going to work.
And this is also kind of interesting. Speaking of remote locations and cell phones, Kenyans will soon be able to send Bitcoin by phone. Why are they so far ahead of us? It's Kenya. I mean, like, we always think that we're like way far ahead of Kenya, but Kenya's ahead of us in this area.
Well, one Bitcoin is worth, about 1 year of a typical Ethiopian's income.
Well, luckily you can send percentages, send smaller percentages. So, hey, maybe that'll move some industry over there.
I think it will. I think it'll be transformative for their economy. It'll be a while before it catches up. But this type of microtransactions thing is going to completely change the world in the third world.
Move to Ethiopia. You want to jump in right now while it's hot? Move over there. You'll be rich. I don't know. You may remember Jamie Thomas. She's a woman from Minnesota. And she owes the RIAA $122,000. And remember, we talked about this before, where that's an excessive fine.
I thought it was $222,000.
I mean, sorry, $222,000. Yeah. Yes. She downloaded a few songs. And, she was going back to court, and they were fighting this as this is an excessive fine for just a few songs. That's ridiculous.
And then it was $600,000, and then $1.5 million, and now we're back to the original $222,000.
And then the Obama administration decided to open their mouth and jump in and say, like, no, this is totally reasonable. We need to set a precedent so people stop stealing Rihanna songs. I got your back, girl. That's what happened.
That is exactly what happened.
So anyway, they're offering to reduce her fine if she does some work for them, and she was like, nope, not going to do it.
Yeah, it's sort of the most insidious thing in the world, because it's like, well, we want to help you pay. Why don't we take some of your fine off, and we're not going to say how much, and you do some anti-piracy work for us. And it's like, wow.
Yeah. So thankfully she's being smart and saying no. She's also thinking about filing for bankruptcy, which would be bad for her, but would be, I guess, less bad than paying $222,000.
It's good that she's standing up for her principles, but from a pragmatic standpoint, I think she ought to do it. I mean, it's really
work for these bastards.
Yeah, I mean, whatever to get past it and move on. I mean, it's the pragmatic thing, because I mean that's basically a financial death sentence unless you're like, a Goldman Sachs consultant or something like that.
Yeah, I mean, filing for bankruptcy is an option. She will recover from that quicker than she'd recover from paying this.
I'm not sure that anyone would ever have a financial death sentence like that for stealing actual music from an actual store.
No, you can go in there and steal 10 CDs. You get slapped on the wrist, maybe spend a night in jail, or you get paid to pay a $50 fine and then get out of here, kid. You bother me. Done.
It pains me because the current administration and the people in the judicial system seem to willfully not understand that that's the situation, and it makes me want to understand what it is that they understand from a legal standpoint that they're unwilling to understand from a technical standpoint.
I think a lot of it for them is about setting precedents. It's not as much about punishment that equals the crime. It's more about like, you know what? If this happens, it's going to run away, and then everyone's going to think that everything digital is free, and then we're not going to have any businesses online anymore, and everyone's just going to share all the culture everywhere.
I get the picture in my head of the Joker where he's like, it's not about the whatever, it's about sending a message. Yeah. So, and that's not what the American justice system's about. The American justice system is not about...
Not what it used to be about.
Yeah. Okay. Well, point taken.
All right. So on the same line, Google gets tons of copyright requests. You must remove all these torrent websites, and they've stood up and said, you know what, we're not going to remove these sites. And I want to say a few things about this. Number one, everyone's going to be like, "Yay, Google, good on you, mate," or whatever they. What's the phrase there? Good on you.
We'll pretend.
Yeah.
I'm sure that the Aussies in the audience will forgive us.
I know what I'm talking about. So everyone's happy about Google, standing up for people by saying, we're not going to take down these torrent websites. The real reason they're doing this is because they're getting too many requests and they just don't have the resources to deal with it. And also, it really is something they shouldn't be doing. They shouldn't. If they come out and say, "Hey, yeah, well, sure, we'll police the internet," then all of a sudden, the next thing you know, everyone's gonna be like, "Hey, Google polices the internet. Let's just remove everything. Let's get them to do this because they're gonna do it." That's not what they do. That's not what they set up their business to do. And they're making sure that they say no to people who ask them to police the internet. They're not gonna do it.
Not only that, but also the attorneys general are losing their damn mind about the autocomplete. And so it's like the state attorneys general in the United States are freaking out because if somebody goes to Google and it's like, "Hey, Google, help me find a good deal on my prescription meds." Most of the results that come up are, "Why don't you buy your meds from Canada?"
Yeah,
and
out
so
of the country.
the attorneys general are like, "What? Oh my God. Do you realize that Pfizer funds my campaigns? We got to stop this."
Yeah.
So that's kind of fun.
Eric Schmidt had this to say: "The industry would like us to edit the web and literally delete sites, and that goes counter to our philosophy." So the man has spoken. And it's an absolute fact that there are pirate sites, and we've done things to reduce the amount of people who use them. So they've actually done some things. But again, I think it's just they don't have the time or the resources to be policing the web, and they don't want to police the web. They want to do other things.
Well, and what's illegal here is not necessarily illegal elsewhere.
True. Radio Shack. They are in trouble. They're on fire right now. They're bleeding money, or money's burning, or
They're hemorrhaging cash.
blood and fire.
They're hemorrhaging cash, and it just won't cauterize.
Yeah, they want someone to buy them out, I guess, or...
Well, Radio Shack is hoping that someone will buy them because it seems like they're hiring consultants that would help them with the buyout.
Yeah, maybe Amazon or Walmart, or maybe we could just let them die. Like, Circuit City, just let them die.
It's really... Like, if you step back and look at this, it's like, if there's any Radio Shack executives out there, hire us. We can help you.
The maker culture.
Yes, exactly. That is exactly
you guys have
where...
gotten away from... You guys started with the maker culture and the hacker groups, and the forefathers and the pioneers of the PC. You guys could go there and buy just the parts you needed to create something ridiculous.
They started messing around with this stuff too
Yeah.
a couple of years ago. That you can buy Arduino stuff now at Radio Shack and some other stuff like that, which is kind of nice.
Look at Adafruit. Whatever they're doing,
Yes.
just hire some people from there as consultants.
Radio Shack should call Lemore Freed and be like, "Hey, want to be our new CEO and just see how it goes?" That would be good. She would be even better than us.
You think someone from Radio Shack is maybe watching this? They're like that bored. They're like, I'm just gonna chill out and put on the tech and be appalled. Oh God, I'm so appalled. They're talking about me.
One can only hope, because it would save their company.
Are we that arrogant? Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, it's not that. It's just you guys are out of touch, and I feel like we're more in touch because we're on the ground.
These are our people.
Hi. Let's speak on the NSA for just a few moments and on Snowden and everything. Oliver Stone came out and made a video about the NSA, and it's pretty interesting to watch. And it's kind of crazy to see someone of his caliber come out and publicly make a statement in a video. So we've got that. You guys can watch that. If you guys want something that's a little funnier, you guys can watch the one that Sasha Grey did, where she makes the NSA look like a sex hotline. Like, hey, you want to listen into all kinds of phone calls? Join the NSA. So you guys can watch both of those if you like. Those are on the screen there. A lot of people are speaking out against this.
I thought there was a really interesting article too that was circulating about how, and we don't have a link for this, but that DuckDuckGo, like a lot of people are moving to DuckDuckGo
We do
from
have a
Google.
link for this.
Oh, we do.
Yeah, I have a backlash segment coming right up.
Oh, okay.
Yep.
But that doesn't really, like, we want to be the first to point out, or we want to be among the first to point out that doesn't stop the NSA. We mentioned in a couple episodes ago that we thought that they were snooping on the raw fiber optic communication. Sure enough, that's part of some of the new leaks since the last episode.
Let me bring that up as a matter of fact. It's right here. The article is titled, Forget Prism, Fairview is the NSA's project to own the Internet. Now, I've always thought that Prism was the tip of the iceberg because if whatever comes out, there's always a lot more going on. And for instance, when you hear like a leak from the Obama administration, or when you hear a blurb or a statement, or you see a redacted email, there is so much going on behind the scenes that you are unaware of. It's sort of like the life in the ocean. We don't know much about it, but there's a lot there.
So, absent that, what can you do to protect yourself? It's like you need to come up with some really elaborate aliases for yourself, like do one every 3 or 4 months and switch between them as much as you can.
I was looking at a book called How to Disappear, which I do not recommend. There are better books on this topic, but one of his suggestions was, he was getting into some like legally gray territory, like get 2 credit cards, one with your name and one with your best friend's name, and swap them. Have your friend live in one city and you live in the other while using each other's identities. And I was like, this is in a book that's in a bookstore. I'm putting that down before a security camera sees me holding it. I don't need that in my life.
That probably works okay for data mining, but that's not really, the best strategy. But if you actually work at it, if you start young and you spend years building up these cover identities, it works really well. One of my cover identities that I can share is Gary Wozniak. He's from Waipu, New Zealand. And if you get the reference, I'll send you a stick of RAM.
1 stick of RAM?
Just one.
DDR3?
Yeah, okay, that's fine.
What do you mean, whatever's laying around?
Yeah, whatever's laying around. It's probably more RAM that would be apt to be a keychain.
Oh, yeah.
I'm actually living in Toronto right now, but I'm actually from Waipu, New Zealand. I was born in Waipu, New Zealand, but I grew up in Toronto.
All right, there's an article detailing NSA's access to Microsoft services. You guys can read that. I'm going to move on. There's an article in the description that will detail how Microsoft provided encrypted message keys for Skype to the NSA. You guys can look at that as well. And then there's an interesting...
Well, without, that was a little understated. That was...
Well, we've talked about Skype a few times, and people have told me that I'm a tinfoil hat person. I just wanted to...
I really enjoyed this.
Take a look at that.
This tinfoil hat situation, too, because... We've told people this is happening all the way back with Echelon. Echelon's when I first found out about it, and that was probably like 97, 98. Mm-hmm. And it was like tinfoil hat all the way up through Snowden. And now the people that were saying, oh, you guys are tinfoil hats, are now saying, yeah, we knew all along. And it's like, no, you didn't. Stop being a moron.
Yeah. You guys were in denial. It's because it didn't fit into your picture of how the world should be. But how the world is does not care about how you think it should be. Get out of your bubble.
But yeah, so it turns out that all this encryption that's used on Skype doesn't matter. We can just turn that off.
We've got a key for it.
You guys might remember the Skype story about how when people would paste websites in Skype that Microsoft servers would hit that, and Microsoft was like, oh, that's just an anti-malware service. It's cool. We're not... It's no big deal.
No.
Apparently not.
There's an interesting memo here.
Cut this in. The most awesome quote from that Microsoft article was from the guy from Microsoft in charge of this, and he says, and I can't remember the exact quote, but it's, I really wish that we were allowed to set the record straight on this.
That's almost ominous and creepy.
That's like totally 1984. Like George Orwell's like could not have written a better line.
Let's talk about Snowden for just a minute.
He's trapped in the airport.
Trapped in the airport. He wants asylum in Russia, but he's been granted asylum in some South American countries, and he's I guess yesterday he released a statement, or maybe 2 days ago when this comes out, released a statement saying, you know what, I'm going to go and practice my right for asylum in all of these countries. So thank you all. I will be there soon as I can. But now he's afraid to fly, and he's afraid that,
after the Bolivian president incident.
Yeah, it's his legal right, but a lot of companies or countries are acting
and Putin,
extra legally.
Putin said that he was welcome to stay there as long as he stopped trying to harm the United States. And so I thought it was interesting. That was a while ago.
Yeah.
And then now he's saying, well, can I have temporary asylum or can I have asylum in Russia? But it was never my intention to harm America. I love America. And he does, I mean, you watch him in the videos, he doesn't seem unpatriotic. He doesn't seem like a spy. He doesn't seem like a traitor. I haven't heard any media refer to him as a whistleblower, and I find that very disturbing.
Well, what do you mean?
Like American media, like CNN, Fox.
Yeah, I'm on theguardian.co.uk is calling him whistleblower.
Well, that's
on
the
UK.
Guardian.
Yep.
Yeah. In America, he's a traitor or a leaker.
Well, that's mainstream media.
Yeah. But he's not a whistleblower.
I've seen him on like underground American media, like all over the place. And most like smaller media outlets do call him a whistleblower.
If you don't get your news on the internet, you don't know him as a whistleblower.
Right.
Which is, again, another problem.
And I can't say that's 100% true because I don't watch television at all. I mean, I've seen a few clips of Fox and MSNB, whatever. But yeah. Anyway, so who knows what's going to happen with him? Yeah.
I think it's interesting that, I think all of us have a relative or know someone that went through the Vietnam War, and they were allowed to talk about the Vietnam War and the atrocities and just
dissent
war.
was legal, yeah.
Yeah.
Or even conversation was legal, but now it's becoming. Well, we've had a few journalists disappear.
Yeah.
Recently.
Yeah. I mean, some disturbing stuff, and this all factors in with tech because tech is being used for oppression. Not to invoke Godwin, but this happened in Nazi Germany. IBM built systems to catalog people, and it was immediately abused. If it's there, it will be abused. It's human nature to abuse it. We should not build a system like this.
I'm going to have to live in the woods.
Yeah, pretty much.
I'll
be right there with you as Gary Wozniak from Waipu, New Zealand.
You're living in the woods. Wait, that'd be fun. We should play video games all day. Yeah, we don't talk about tech anymore. They told us we couldn't, so we just play video games all day.
And I'm mispronouncing Waipu, I'm sure.
I don't know. Let's talk about the Chevron thing that's going on. Chevron has been granted access to lots of private internet data from activists that were protesting.
No, wait. I'm sorry. Could you repeat that?
Chevron, a company.
A private company, not a wing of the government.
Exactly.
Chevron, that's like one of those oil companies, right?
Yep, so all this information's been harvested, and it's there, and Chevron's like, hey, there's a bunch of activists, and they're upset about us dumping 18.5 billion gallons of toxic waste into the Amazon, and we're mad about that. Can we have, all their data? And someone was like, yeah, you can have all their data, sure.
So Chevron's saying that this was like a conspiracy or something, that Chevron had massive damages in Ecuador?
Yes, Ecuador, yes.
Ecuadorian
rainforest.
Yeah, so they were sued, I guess, in Ecuador and lost and have to pay a bunch of money.
18.5 billion.
And so now they're saying that it was some kind of a conspiracy that they were caught causing a giant ecological disaster, and they should be entitled to activists' internet history for the last 5 years.
Man, they're being granted that.
Wow.
What are they going to do with these activists?
Wow. So, yeah, here's an example of why we shouldn't have this system.
Now, we've talked about the backlash a little bit, in talking about people switching over to DuckDuckGo, which is really not going to keep you any safer.
Nope.
It just doesn't. They just don't maintain like a search history like Google does. So when you go from computer to computer, you can bring up your history.
DuckDuckGo not tracking you the way that they do is probably good from an advertiser standpoint. So by all means, but in terms of somebody sniffing unencrypted traffic on the fiber, not going to help you.
Yeah, and the Kremlin has returned to using typewriters to avoid leaks.
That's one way to do it, I guess.
Well, they could have just done like a closed network, don't you think, and just had no internet access, so they could at least send files internally. But I guess you could throw something on a USB drive or plug up an internet connection for just a minute and then leak something.
Yeah, I foresee Wi-Fi only iPads with only corporate intranet access because there's no USB ports or anything like that. That's your new corporate machine.
We really have to use typewriters in this day and age? We've got all this technology, and these guys don't want to get in trouble, so they've got typewriters.
Sounds about right to me.
Wow. All right, let's talk about some hardware companies like Microsoft, and then we'll talk about some hardware. Microsoft has announced a massive reorganization. Reorganization, partly because they're bleeding billions of dollars online.
Well, they've always been bleeding billions of dollars. They've lost $10 billion since 2005 on their online division. And so this reorganization is a great opportunity for hiding that massive ongoing loss.
Oh, yeah, we're just going to restructure. And, Steve Ballmer came out and he's been announcing this. And while announcing this, it started to become apparent that he's not going anywhere.
Nope.
He's like buckling himself into that CEO chair, and he's going to be there forever.
Yeah. Well, he's got a misplaced sense of responsibility and duty to the company, but Microsoft's got some talented people, but a lot of their talented people are also leaving. So
Yeah, they're leaving because he's. I have to fix this. I came out.
also developers.
Developers. I can't even do it.
We need to find the iPod commercial of him dancing around because that was amazing.
The Nokia Lumia.
Well, the major thing with that
we go back to Microsoft.
Well, the major thing with this reorg is they're putting the Windows hardware people with the software people, which on the surface doesn't seem that bad. They're putting the Windows Phone and the Surface and all this, and the Surface is on sale now for $349. So if you were a dumbass and you bought the real one, now you can get it for half price. Like me, I bought the.
Well, you needed to develop for it.
Yeah, that's
so
true.
that 6 people using it could see the websites that you're making for all the companies.
It's like, look,
help you put it on someone else's paycheck.
Yeah,
on someone else's dime.
We did build that out, but
you didn't build that out.
We did build that out.
Oh, okay, well, I mean, if you're making a website, yeah,
it's kind of neat, but it needs to be Haswell.
All right, so hands-on with the Nokia Lumia 1020. That's the smartphone we were talking about with a 41 megapixel camera. You guys can check that out. This is mostly just a follow-up. People are saying it's pretty awesome.
There's a lot of pictures and a lot of sample pictures.
I mean, it doesn't. It looks. There's a lot of pixels, but it doesn't have the dynamic range, and it also does not have you don't get the depth of field and everything you get with like an SLR. But it's got a lot of pixels.
I don't think you get the quality that you get even with an entry level DSLR, but a compact digital camera or even some of the upper mid range, point and shoot digital cameras, the quality is about as good, maybe better.
Oh yeah.
But DSLR, nope, not yet. But they're getting there.
White guy breakdancing. That's what I want to take a picture of.
I was also surprised at how big the sensor was.
Let's see if there's not a picture of that on there.
It's got it sticks out of the back of the phone. It looks a little unwieldy.
Yeah, there it is.
Yeah. I can't imagine that I wouldn't destroy that carrying around the phone in my pocket. Gonna have to go back to a phone utility belt clip.
I mean, the technology is getting smaller and smaller. We've got the pen cameras now that are doing amazing things. Like the Sony and the Panasonic and the Olympus and the Pentax, and all those cameras are doing amazing things, but they're still bigger than a phone, and they take way better pictures, and there's no phone that can compete. There's still not an all-in-one device that's probably not going to be around for another 10 years, at least.
But the photons aren't getting any smaller. You see, that's the problem, because we need
a new way to capture images.
The elements on the CMOS are starting to be on the same scale or a similar scale as the actual photons they're capturing. So that's kind of a problem.
Yeah, we're going to need a different way. We got to think outside of the box. See, I could be a CEO. I say things like that.
You got to rally the troops because you're declaring war on photons.
I can make up new marketing words like conglomeration. Guys, we need to all get together and have a conglomeration of ideas. Thinking outside the box.
Remunerate those ideas.
So we get together and pay ourselves back with ideas or something?
Yep.
I think we just lost half our audience. Sorry, guys. Science. Yeah, let's just talk about science. Trees are using water more efficiently due to the CO2 rise. So the trees are becoming smarter at how they use their water?
Yes.
How does this work?
Well, it's not that complicated if you think about it, because where do trees come from? They come from the air. And who taught us that? Richard Feynman.
They come from the air and the sun and the...
There's some minerals that come from the earth, but mostly trees come from the air. And so there's more CO2 in the air. Ergo, trees are using it.
Yep. Oh, the 5D Superman memory crystal. Unlimited lifetime data storage. We've been waiting for a breakthrough like this for quite a while.
The thing that I'm curious about is that for a while there, with the advent of the burnable CD-ROM and CD-ROMs being so much larger than magnetic storage at the time, at least consumer magnetic storage, worm storage, write once, read many, popped up. And so this type of crystal storage, because it's so dense, makes me think that write once, read many might come back. And so
but if it's almost unlimited.
Yes. Well, write once, read many has really awesome security considerations as well. Because if you can only write it once, you could securely write your operating system and be assured that, malware and things like that can't permanently mess it up, because you can always go back to the original copy. We talked a little bit about the H-1B visa situation and how companies were saying there's a brain drain and we want to hire people and, from overseas, blah, blah. And that was more in the technical and computer science fields. But here's a specific, relatively old field that's older than computer science, that's electrical engineering. And the pool of jobs is shrinking in electrical engineering, but people are still coming to the field faster than the pool is shrinking. And so it's got a relatively high unemployment rate. I think it was around 10%. And so companies are able to be really choosy with their electrical engineers. And one of the guys that was interviewed for the article said that they had one company that they talked to that was trying to combine a mechanical engineer and an electrical engineer.
Those are so different. It's like...
Yeah, that's totally a pointy-haired boss. Whatever company was doing that has an idiot pointy-haired boss trying to do that. That doesn't make any sense. You could hire somebody that has both a mechanical engineer and electrical engineer degree. Probably they're rare, and it's going to cost you a whole bunch of money, but you're not going to get twice the work out of them. No. You might need somebody like that to bridge the two groups in your company, like an engineering group, electrical engineering and a mechanical engineering group in your company, but that guy's not going to do the work of both people.
It would be like someone being a chef and also a computer scientist. That's about how different they are.
Yeah,
like really. Well, but some people are both a really great chef and a computer scientist.
And the corporate interests are in having that guy not lead a team, but just do the work of two teams.
Speaking of all this, math and science are really popular, until students find out that they're hard. Are people getting lazier in this country?
Yes.
I mean, we're extremely lazy. Just in traveling across the country, the last few weeks, I've kind of lost a lot of hope. Everywhere I go, people are so lazy.
Everyone's allergic to work.
It's really weird. I'll just say this. I met a guy who had like an A+ certification at one time, and he's like, yeah, but I forgot it all. I mean, it's on a flash drive, all the stuff I need to look at, but man, I don't care. I don't want to get a job. That's what he said to me.
That's deeply horrifying.
And that seems to be the consensus for a lot of the people that I would see just in random places around the country.
See, I don't think that kind of person is the person that took us to the moon. And we need more of that.
We're getting more of those type of people. I'm just being like sort of a curmudgeon right now, but...
Well, I'm just of the general opinion that we need people that are more interested in the welfare of community and the country, that will bring us out of the slump, not just because the government sucks, but also because the infrastructure sucks. Like AT&T, the telephone network, was built by our great-grandfathers and our great-great-grandfathers, and it's amazing, but it's being maintained by idiot monkeys that have no idea what they're doing. And so we could have this really amazing thing for broadband nationwide. I mean, our great-grandfathers went to the moon with 4K of RAM. Not even that.
Yeah, but I mean, there are some people. I mean, we talked last week about a freaking horse dragging fiber through the middle of the woods and mountains. There are some people who are just like, I'm going to do this myself. No one else is doing this. Hell, I've got a horse. I'm going to run fiber.
We need a JFK again saying we're going to do fusion and we're going to do broadband and we're going to do fiber everywhere. We need it, or an FDR saying we're going to do a New Deal and, put highways everywhere, except it's a digital highway instead of a real highway. We don't have that.
No visionaries right now. We just have people trying to stop all the progression that's happening.
Well,
what's all this progression? Make them stop. Make them stop.
The few people that are out there are probably, being outmaneuvered by companies that are like, no, we don't need to do that. That'll compete with us.
How about a blue planet?
We found a blue planet.
Looks like it's a blue gas giant.
Oh.
I hope they're wrong.
Well, apparently it rains glass on there for it to be blue.
What?
Yeah, they were saying that the
That's
composition...
like the most badass thing ever.
Yeah, it's like raining glass.
That's awesome. Why is it so awesome? I wish it rained glass here. That would really help cull
the population.
Yeah, it would really help cut out some of the riffraff.
Everyone that's smart lives underground. Yes, I don't think that would be good.
You're not smart enough to make it to the store and back without getting caught in a glass storm.
Probably also the lack of trees and proper atmosphere. Those things would be bad.
Yeah, I mean, we'll figure it out. But so Justin Carter, he's the 19-year-old kid who was making some terrible threats, to someone else on League of Legends. He was thrown in jail. We talked about this last week. The judge set the fine or the bond at $500,000. An anonymous Samaritan, obviously loaded, posted that $500,000 bond. He's been bound and now he's unbound, so he's not binded anymore.
He was in jail for a long time, and he needed a $500,000 bond, which the family could not afford. And an anonymous person paid the bond, and so he's free.
So he'd been punched in the face enough. I guess the guy was like,
until
man.
trial.
Yeah. Until trial.
I can't believe the prosecutor doesn't have the good sense to drop all charges. I mean, I can't imagine that prosecutor is going to be very electable come next election.
Unless people are just so stupid that they think it's a good thing what he did.
I have a very low expectation of people, and it's possible, I guess, but I mean, good Lord.
Yeah.
Our audience has a duty to go out there and mingle with that type of person and educate them. I mean, it's like, I know you hate dealing with people, but you're going to have to just suck it up.
I have a feeling that a lot of our audience
take one for the team.
Does kind of stay the hell away from a lot of the idiots out there. And let me know in the comments if you guys actively hide from most of society because it's just 90% dregs, 10% okay.
You can troll. Just be a logical troll. We might do a video on that.
Yeah, we'll have to do a video on that. It's part of our nature to troll because we crave discussion.
We crave debate.
Yeah, we'll make a separate video about that soon. Eidos has done two really stupid things in the video game world. First off, they made an iOS Deus Ex game. I mean, who really cares about playing Deus Ex on iOS? But they made one. I guess people are buying it. But if you have a jailbroken device, well, you can't really play the game because you can't fire your guns.
Yeah, it assumes you pirated it, even if you bought it.
Maybe that's a feature.
Yeah.
Now you have to be extra stealthy to beat the game. If you're going to be stealthy enough to have a jailbroken iPad, well, do people not have rights anymore? Are you their parents to tell them what to do, Eidos? Hope I'm saying your name incorrectly. Eidos.
It's only a matter of time before Electronic Arts buys them.
That bad.
It is that bad.
Well, this is pretty good. 3 months ago, Lord British started making his new game, Shroud of the Avatar, and he said it's going to be the ultimate RPG in the history of the world. Well, here's 11 minutes of gameplay.
That seems to back up that assertion.
It's been 3 months. 3 months, and he's already got this much done. Now, what I want to highlight here, and you guys can go look through it. First off, it looks pretty cool. I mean, they've got a lot of work to do, but they're crowdsourcing a lot of the creation of the 3D art. For instance, people are making torches and fire pits and chairs and submitting them online, and they're using a lot of the art that the community is creating. Here's the thing that I thought was pretty crazy. He went into a bar. I think it's about 7 or 8 minutes into this, somewhere in the middle here. Yeah, like go to around 6.5 minutes or so, maybe a little bit before that, and you'll see him initiate a conversation with the bartender. And the bartender says to him, like, "Hey, what's going on?" or whatever, and they just, a thing comes up on the side, and it's empty. It's a text box, and he starts typing like Zork to the bartender, and they have a conversation based upon what he's typing. This game has been in development for 3 months, and he already has this going. I'm sure there was some technology behind the scenes that was already in place, but that's a pretty cool chat system, and it opened up quest options based upon what he brought up in conversation. He was like, "Oh yeah, I've been making some chairs at my, I've been making them at my crafting table or whatever." And the guy was like, "Oh, have you heard about this bone throne that's in a dungeon nearby here? Speaking of chairs." Seems like a pretty obscure thing to bring up in conversation, but sure enough, it led to a quest. I think Lord British knew that was going to lead to a quest.
Yeah, he might have set us up for that.
He just wanted to show the robustness of the system.
But this could be a whole new thing. I mean, there's in these type of games, in these indie markets, there are marketplaces that are popping up where you can buy like facial expression systems and things like that from third-party companies and incorporate them into your game. This dialogue system could be breakthrough.
Yeah, and hopefully it'll be incorporated into a lot of new games. And they still need... I have not seen a game that integrates an interpersonal system like the one I came up with on paper that I don't want to show anyone because I haven't put a patent on it. But it's pretty damn cool. But we need like an interpersonal system that will allow NPCs to trick you and backstab you in an unscripted way. Like, become your friend, hang out with you, and then backstab you. Because this stuff happens in real life, and it happens in really good novels. But it never really happens in games. People are always, they love you or they hate you, and you can always tell, because if they hate you, they charge you with their sword drawn. That seems to be the way most games go, unless they're scripted to do otherwise. But organically, this faction hates you, this faction loves you because you killed their brother or sister. That's the way it works.
I like the screenshots from Skyrim that have like the dead dragon on the ground, and then you talk to the NPC guard, and it's like, my brother went off to fight dragons, and I'm here just, doing guard duty. And it's like, oh, there's a dead dragon behind you there, fella.
Didn't we just kill this? Oh, what's this GTA 5 thing? Oh, yeah.
Oh, yeah, GTA 5. Yeah, so that came out. And
The video came out, yeah.
It's PS3 only.
Well, it's Xbox 360 as well, but...
Or Xbox, yeah. It's console. I'm sorry. Console
The video that came out was on PS3, but it'll be on PC. It's got to be on PC. But please, guys, when you guys bring it to PC, don't use games
I'm still
from
waiting
Windows
on
Live.
Red Dead.
Oh, that's actually going to be coming out, I think.
Well, it only took them, 2 years?
Yeah, 2 or 3. In the meantime, we have this.
Yeah, we're gonna be just fine.
Yeah, we're cool. Yeah. We'll be making a new Kill Your Console video soon as well. And yes, we're going to bring up the PC and the console argument once again and just beat it to death. We've got some new things to talk about, and we want to do it in a nice way. And really what's happening right now is a lot of people are coming over to the PC because they realize the water's better. And we're going to help to usher them in and answer their questions and get them started and indoctrinated so we can drink Kool-Aid together. Well, I'm back. There'll be a lot of videos coming up soon. And I need to go take a nap. I'm tired. Could you tell?
Yeah, we could tell. We knew. It's K, though.
I've got a whole box of beer from Canada to play with.
Well, we might do one more inbox, and then you can go take your nap.
Let's do an inbox. But yeah, you guys will watch that later. Subscribe over there and do whatever you want to do. Hang out in the forum. I don't know. Bye. We're totally cool. We're gonna make